Grand Rising, grand day. Welcome everybody. Good to see everybody that will be tapping in. And yeah, it's going to be a really beautiful live. We're going to be talking about a topic that is relatable for everybody as it relates upon what we all are in this journey, experience, hologram, vibrational reality, whatever you'd like to call it. And today, first of all, I just want to say happy and blessed super new moon in Capricorn, and also happy Chiron retrograde coming to an end and Chiron going stationed. Chiron is the wounded healer, so during that retrograde period we were brought into our shadows quite a bit with the different wounds from the mother, the father, and inner child side of ourselves. And we are now moving forward from that period with the lessons that we have learned and obtained to move forward. So once again, happy new moon. Wishing everybody a beautiful day. And don't forget, later on today at 5:55 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, I have my premiere exclusive for the Violet Flame Supermoon Meditation, and that will be on YouTube, Sacred Light Healing and Wellness. So if you haven't subscribed yet, feel free to subscribe to get yourself the notification to tap in and be able to experience the Violet Flame Meditation for the new moon. And on to today in this beautiful space on this live. And welcome in everybody. Welcome Sandra, Shane, Wayne, Nature Wolf. Welcome all. Today on this live, we are going to be talking about the ancient topic, the ancient knowledge, the universal laws regarding the law of one. And not just the law of one, but from the magnificent book and channel material, the law of one, raw material. And for those of you who do not know who Ra is, R-A, Ra is a divine being, a higher vibrational being than the human vibration. And he carries divine order. And through that divine order, he represents basically gold energy. And also the earthly sun is a representation of what Ra's energy is like. That's why we call the sun Ra back in Egypt and in other places. And Ra is a part of the gold order. There's a few different orders when it comes to the universe to help make principles and make everything coordinated and stay in perfect order. And the gold order is one of them, as well as the amethyst order and the blue order as well. And there's some other ones as well. But today we are going to be connecting on the law of one, raw material. And this knowledge comes from the gold order of the being Ra. And today I am your host, Marcus aka Christolight. And we have a very special guest, a wonderful sister and queen that is going to be joining us for part 2 of our magnificent live that we had a couple weeks ago. And our wonderful guest, without further ado, I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to go ahead and bring her on.
Hello, hello.
Hey, grand day. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I just got back from the beach, so I'm a little not tired, but like a little sun tired, you know?
Yeah. Kind of like ready for that rest to come on in there. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm here and I'm really grateful and really excited to continue to pick up where we left off on this first conversation about the law of one.
Yeah, so much. I'm learning about the law of one, like I told you. I'm kind of, I think, let me see if I can dim this down a little. I'm not sure if it'll allow me to. There we go. Because for some reason I've got a glare. Hope that helps other people see.
Oh,
With the law,
that's a
with the law of one, it kind of made sense to me because, like I said before, I have always been one to always ask a question, what more? So the law of one and the raw materials answered a part of that puzzle for me. Ooh, I like that one.
Yeah, I actually had my hands on that book a few years ago, back in 2018,
Hmm.
I want to say.
Right.
And yeah, the material is just so amazing, and the fact that it's all channeled from somebody who opened themselves up to being a divine channel to receive this this pure neutral knowledge without wanting to tamper with it or place his own opinion upon it is very valuable and brings a lot of gratitude to me for people like that.
Right. Right. I mean, there are many today that do that same thing, which I really like Eckhart Tolle and the gentleman that wrote the Conversations with God. There were a lot of things that he could have changed in that book, but he left it so that it would
Hmm.
the information would be generated so everybody could feel the growth, or not the growth, the expansion of consciousness within them. You know,
Yeah.
like that. I like that raw, the complex that is raw decided to come. You know, they did it 11,000 years ago, and the information was lost or tampered with, and they chose to come back to give this information again when they could have just said, okay, the earth is just, they get what they get. They're on their, they're kind of on their own, right? You know,
Hmm.
as a density, as a full, uh, what are they called? A social memory complex. They made it, right? They can just go ahead and merge back with God, you know, and be part of that consciousness, that wonderful consciousness. Yet they decided, oh, let's go back, let's try it again, you know.
Yeah.
And I thought that was like, wow. They waited 11,000 years and and came back and did it again. It's like magnificent. And I was
Yeah.
told that this book right here was gonna, this is one of, I believe, five. So they broke it up. They had to break it up in five books. The conversations or the channeling was so much. And
Hmm.
friend who told me, oh, it's going to be dense reading. You're not going to be able to get through it. And, you know, I tried to read it and I'm going, did you try to read it with your soul allowing you to lead the way and highlight it?
Yeah.
Because that's what your soul is for. That's what that spirit body is for inside you, or whatever you want to call it, the inner guidance system or that gut feeling. That's what it's there for, you know. Because raw is, I've only got, I haven't even got halfway through the book. You
Wow. I mean,
know,
yeah, whenever there's that much knowledge and wisdom, I mean, almost every line and almost paragraph is like a whole book of knowledge. And it's always good to like pace yourself with processing.
yeah. And then also it's really, I really have to thank Aaron Apke because he was suggesting me to go to his YouTube. That's where I found a lot of this information on the raw material and how he broke it down. I truly believe that he is either, you know, a wanderer or starseed come back to help decipher this information in a manner in which human beings can understand it
Yeah.
and break it down. So where I took notes from a lot of his perception of it, or his spirit's interpretation of it, then I could go back to this book and go, oh, okay, I'm reading it myself, and okay, this makes sense, you know.
Yeah.
So
And some of us, not to get too deep on this, but some of us actually come from that gold order, which is the order that Ra represents, is the gold order, the gold light, gold flame. And he actually has his own confederacy as well, the Ra Confederacy. And within that confederacy is a lot of different beings, such as the lion goddess Sekhmet, um, a lot of other beings that go back to like the Egyptian times that represent having the sun disk on top of their head. They're part of that same order of energy. And some of us here walking on the earth right now in these human forms actually come from that same confederacy or order.
right.
So I wouldn't be surprised or gather that the guy that channeled Ra and wrote the book comes from that and is just like basically representing what he came from in the Confederacy that he represents galactically, and then just doing it here on the Earth like his sole purpose was.
Yeah, it's well, what's unique about it is the gentleman who was the young lady that was the channeler, and the gentleman that was asking the questions, and then there was the also the scribe that was writing it down. So Ra needed physical beings, and Ra. I thought it was very. It's different now than then, where Ra had to give them the exact vibration coordinates and how to move everything, right? And now, with our light language coming through us as the channel portion, we have actually opened up ourselves. We've opened up our third eye, opened up these vibrational portals to be able to connect with source, and to connect with our soul, and to connect with our spirit guides, and our connection with source, or just with the law of one, with the law of love, right? So, but what it took to get there, from there to here, where now we can meditate, and we can have our crystals and that whole kind of thing, where when Ra came in to give us this, to help us it back in the 11,000 years ago, right? They were presenting the pyramids as healing temples.
Yep.
and giving the direction of these pyramids for healing temples, and then the misguided used them for themselves and people of higher order, our earth beings, and that's why they decided that they had to come back. And I was like, oh, I get that now, but and I thought it was this. I did not hear from Aaron Apke. This I had to read from it. Ross said the gentleman was asking about the pyramids, to tell him more about the pyramids, and Ra actually said, I'm Ra, and went to expound on the pyramids just a little, and then Ra said, but the time of the pyramids is over, right? Because there's a new issuance of the fact that we can go in and our body knows how to heal itself, so that we're progressing. And I went, oh, okay. But the gentleman still asked the question about the pyramid, and Ross said, everything that the pyramid was built with, and I'm just kind of I'm just kind of like paraphrasing it, because Ra made, basically dense in his language, because he did not want to usurp our free will status here on Mother Earth, right? So he said every stone that was used to create the pyramids was living stone. It was vibrating. And the thing is, it's stumped mankind all this time. How did we get all those stones as 11-pound stone, and they stacked them on top? How did they do that? How did man, who was living in the past, who's supposed to be dumber than we were, that's basically how human beings think, okay? Because they're 11,000 years ago, they couldn't be smart as us now, right? But Ross said the stone was living. It did our bidding. Whoa. You mean you spoke to the stone, told it where to go, and it went there, and you told another stone, go there, right? And go there. And it takes me back. I mean, I'm going to tell you, Marcus, it takes me back to when my mother used to read me some of the scriptures in the Bible. And she used to read, if you have the faith of a mustard seed, you can tell the mountain to be moved, and it'll move for you, right? And then I think, now listen to Ra. Ra says everything is living. You speak to it, it's going to do your bidding. But the guy still had to ask the question in a different format, as if Ra didn't know what he was saying. So it's like, I was like, okay, that just blew my mind. It's like, okay, we know, we've been told how the pyramids were built, whether we believe it or not, that's on us. But Ra just told you, they talked to the stones, and the stones moved for them. They didn't have to lift anything. They didn't have to get any equipment. They didn't have to do pulleys or make rolled stones or anything. They just had to tell it to move. And I'm like, all right.
Yeah. Actually, it's actually been a few years, but I've heard of basically this type of conclusion about it, regarding just vibrational frequency. One thing I also heard was like they would use instruments that would use certain frequencies, and then those frequencies would basically interact with the stones.
Yep.
And our psychic abilities aren't really, they're not really truly fully supported, and not exactly brought to the forefront of being used in this modern society.
Right.
So it seems very taboo-ish, for us to be able to do things like telekinesis, which is what that is, and really telepathically communicating and connecting with each other, and other things as well. And when you think about back in that period of time, that's almost all they knew. All they knew was being what we call psychic,
Right.
and being in tune with nature,
Right.
and understanding that nature has spirits behind it, elementals, and different beings were on the earth,
Right.
because of how open our collective energy field was vibrating. And it's part of the reason why we haven't had a lot of these beings in front of our faces on this earth right now, is because the collective energy field's very dense compared to where it was at that time. And when these things are at the forefront, these things aren't that crazy. They're actually quite normal. And for some of us, we've done a lot of work on ourselves and have become self-aware on our path. And when we hear these things, it's like, oh wow, like it's actually like simple logic. It makes complete sense. But to someone that's a little more denser minded, it's like,
First,
whoa, like that's like some fallen angel, demonic, like taboo type stuff.
did you just hear Source? Source says they're in our presence all the time. People just they're so unaware of themselves and what they see, because they see them in glimpses. They'll look and think they saw something, and they'll go, what was that? I just saw something out the corner of my eye. Whereas um, the more we walk spiritually and we open up ourselves to um, that realm, you know, and understand that there are many dimensions that are simultaneously being vibrated in what we call this duality, right? Spiritually, we and all of those who are probably in this this moment, this now moment that we're in, know that there are other dimensions all around us. We feel them every day. And can you imagine 11,000 years ago, they knew it. They interacted with it like that was normal life, right?
Yep.
And they still even had the free will to choose to, their souls were still choosing that polarity path. And they still had free will to choose what felt good to them or not good to them. They still had the choice to be selfish or not, which of course they used it for selfish, gain. That's why Ra had to leave, 11,000 years ago, because where they expected them to have growth, not all of them had growth.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
That is
And
such a good point.
for, 11,000 years later, humanity, even though Ra's come and the select three that were chosen to be his voice did great, but we're talking about still humanity who says, well, they wrote the book, but I don't know if that really happened, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I'm like saying, there are things that I have thought about and and all of a sudden it just appeared to me, right? The method by it doesn't matter. It's the thought. It's that I'm thinking about just simply, I want a hot cup of coffee, but I'm nowhere near a coffee shop. I'm nowhere near my home for a cup of coffee, but I'm just walking, doing whatever I'm doing. And all of a sudden, I'm somewhere where there's a coffee shop, and I'm somewhere where I can walk in and they say, oh, by the way, everybody's getting a cup of coffee today. That happened to me. It was like, really? What would you like today? I think it was a Starbucks, right? But it was
Yeah.
the mental ability to will it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or it could be raining. It could just be a shit-filled rainy day, and you're just thinking about the sun coming out, and all of a sudden the sun just comes out, and it's like right over you. The sun just breaks for that moment right over you. It's, what I mean? And then you go, and then you kind of go, oh, I get what Rob means. Do you see what I mean? I get that energy. I get that vibrational. Everything's vibrational. He didn't come here to tell us something that we didn't already know. It would have took us a long time to figure it out, but we would have got it,
Yeah, and that's key, is this knowledge that not even just Ra, but all sorts of different beings like Thoth and archangels and whoever you decide to connect with as your guide.
Mm-hmm.
The knowledge that they share is not anything new. As they say, nothing new under the sun.
Nothing.
It's all infinite, eternal knowledge of what creation
Right.
is. And it's also a reminder of who we are as a part of creation. And it's just for us to remember and be able to walk in our truth.
Right.
And that's really all it's meant to be. And there's been a lot of conspiracizing about these beings, conspiracizing about the knowledge. Um, some people will lack to even try to implement knowledge into their life and experience it and just judge it quickly.
Yeah.
And, something I wanted to say real quick is that I invite people to implement and try to experience the knowledge that you read or the universal laws and principles
Mm.
and see how it shapes your life
Yeah.
and what it can do to alter your path and help you become further enlightened with who you are and your truth.
Right.
Oh, Energy Soul Child said, drink, Sandra.
I just did
Water check.
again. I'm sorry. I don't see all the. I see some of the comments, but they're not rolling. So
Let's see. Energy Soul Child said, have to be in the right frequency and call in that abundance. Yeah, it's very true too. It's also as I say in the universal laws in Kabbalion, um, so within is also so without. So in order for you to really attract a certain vibrational material or a certain vibrational item into your experience, then you want to have your vessel or yourself in that vibrational resonance as well, because that's where the law of attraction comes in, as well as magnetism.
yeah.
And we all have a electromagnetic field that conducts through us. And through that electromagnetic field is what allows us to draw in, pull in, and attract certain frequencies into our field. I mean, this is all scientific basics.
Yeah.
And, this correlates with the chakras because the chakras are our energy centers that help the streamline flow through the body. And, uh, there's a lot of great things you can do to balance your chakras and get your energy field radiating more
Right.
and expand your aura out bigger. And the aura is the energy field around you as a whole. And the bigger that is, the more you're able to attract.
Right.
So
Yeah.
there's beautiful practices out there, and I actually teach quite a few of them.
Yeah. And a lot of these practices came from how Ra 11,000 years ago that they showed uh, the Egyptian beings then how to use the pyramids and the crystals and how to use that to heal and even upgrade their chakras, right? And now we do it. We can tap in to it when we go into our dream state or even our day state or whatnot when we dream walk or whatnot. But we also have learned how to do that using crystals and meditation and and all of these things. These are things that were catalyst from 11,000 years ago and probably farther. My soul has told me
Atlantis.
that even farther than that. My
Oh yeah.
you have to understand, because I did not ask. This is my how I am, how I have always been since a kid. I used to always tell my soul, I know that you're old. I don't want to know how old you are. You're with me in all that matters, right? And that was as
Yeah.
a kid, right? Because people used to say, Sandy, you've got an old soul. You've got an old soul. And I used to think, you know, when you're talking about old and young and stuff, you know, you're characterizing it by other people telling you you're old. To me, old meant you're close to dying as a kid. Because when you turn, as a kid, when you turned 30 years old, you were freaking old, you know, as a kid,
Yeah.
right? So I used to always, and this one was when it was okay for me to talk to my invisible best friend. Well, my soul was my invisible best friend. I always had a conversation, and I used to tell him, I don't care how old you are, let's just have some fun, right? Of late, I would ask in my meditations, should I be asking you who you are and where you came from? Should that be a question? Am I missing that whole thing because of, you know, the me not wanting to? And my soul said, ask if you want. I said, but I don't want to. And my soul said, then don't ask, right? So I didn't. Recently, in a deep dive, my soul told me that I think I got a reading. Somebody did a reading and said that they saw me with Ra, right? Or in that era. And my soul had said, no, they think that it's that era. I'm older than that. And I just, okay, should I ask how old you are? And my soul just told me, older than you'll ever know, older than you'll ever expect. And I just went, oh, okay, I don't want to know, because if that's like 1 billion years and I'm carrying a 1 billion-year-old soul, do you know what So for me, it could be, do I need any knowledge from there? Do you know what I mean? Because it's like,
Yeah.
Ra came with knowledge, right? Ra is a 6th density complex being from, I think, the red planet, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, come on. They did what they had to do. They merged, and then, you know, was getting ready to go back to this, you know, go up to 7th density, merge back with God, and get ready to go to the 8th, whatever that 8th density is, go into a new galaxy, a new planet, a new incarnation. And then they turned around and came back and said, oh, wait a minute, we still have to do this for humanity. And I went, you mean I'm channeling you? And Ra told me, you channel all. I went, okay. Simply because when I was, I think when I was like in my 20s or 30s, I just went, I'm surrendering. Whoever I'm supposed to be here right now, I'm just going to surrender. I'm going to give myself and my body over to it, because I don't understand why we're here and why all of this is going on, and why I believe in Egyptian sun gods, and why I like watching movies about Egypt and magic, and why I watch movies about extraterrestrials, and why I watch all of the Star Trek movies and why all of that makes sense to me, right? So I'm just going to surrender it. This is who I am until now, until this book comes out, right? And then I go,
Yeah.
now I know. And now you're telling me it's older than that. And they're older than 11,000 years ago. That's only 11,000 years Earth time.
Earth time.
Right? So they were beings on Mars that was an actual living planet, right? Before they became a memory complex, a social memory complex. The whole planet freaking merged. And then when they came back, you know, they decided the whole planet merged. What? We've got 8 billion people on this planet right now, but that whole whole planet at that time merged and then decided, oh, we're going to move up the densities, we're going to merge back with source, and what, you know, it's law of one, and then turned around to come save our asses. What?
Yeah.
And tell us about our souls having a polarity choice. That is not just about us having a free will choice, and we get to make all these decisions, and we get to, you know, move through with our feelings and our emotions, and we get to move all through that. And then when we separate with body and mind, then, you know, we go, quote unquote, like we were talking in our last podcast, you go to heaven and you reconcile with God about something that you're not, right? You know,
Mm-hmm.
but for me to know that I'm here because of my soul making a choice, a polarity choice, now I understand it. You want to explain to them that polarity choice that our souls are making as they move up the densities?
Oh yes, I'd love to. As you know from the last time we did this, I really love getting into detail and articulating this for people to visualize. And so, whew, where do I start off here? Okay,
Let's
so
start off with, okay, I'll start you off and then you jump in. All right?
okay,
Okay. Source, awareness, God, whatever noun you choose, the higher existence of everything, pondered itself and said, who am I other than energy and love and joy, peace and infinite being? I want to know more about me. And threw the thought out there so far in the abyss of darkness, what we think is darkness, and everything emerged. Every planet, every star, every galaxy that is imagined and unimagined. And then Source said, now I want to know me as physicality, and created densities. Take it from there.
mm. And then in a faraway galaxy with the planet of Earth came these soul fragment beings to experience what it's like to be an authentic, individualized soul of the source itself in this very creation of vibrational densities. and
Yeah.
and so this just like start out like I'm trying to give you guys like a visualization to kind of like just visualize inside your mind. So if you guys are open to it, just like empty your mind for a moment and just kind of allow yourself to receive the visualization of this. And I'd like for you to visualize that creation is already created as a full spectrum. And we are within the creation experiencing the full spectrum, which is already the full spectrum. And there are different dimensional planes, which are actually vibrational resonance that occupy different beings and different forms. So now these vibrational planes or dimensions, they're not finite solid places like we may think we're thinking. It's a ever vibrating field of energy, and they all blend together. And the blend is seamless. It's almost hard to even tell the difference until you step into higher frequencies where you have to be in a different body to experience that dimension. And the densities, for example, the physical body is a third dimensional body. So when you're experiencing, like in this moment right now, through your physical human body, you're experiencing and registering through the third dimension. That is where we're meeting when we go to walk down the street and connect with our brother or sister. We are meeting in the third dimension.
Right.
Now, mentally, the mind is beyond the human. The mind is beyond the physical form. And the mind is like the navigator, or what allows consciousness to experience the multidimensionality of these different planes and dimensions. And even though we are experiencing through this third dimensional body, mentally through the mind, at our own free will, according to how much you've limited yourself or how much programming is locking your freedom of the mind, you're able to travel to different dimensional vibrational planes at your own will. And an example of this is what we call the dream world, or when we astral project. We send our minds to be conscious, not in the 3D world, but into a fourth dimensional world, or a higher vibrational world. And sometimes we kind of try to grasp dimensions as physicality, or the 3D, the physical world. But that's the 3D. These other dimensions are not the 3D. They have their own form, their own physics behind them, and their own mechanics. So within each dimension, there's different mechanics, different understandings of knowledge to learn on how to operate within that dimensional plane. So when we're in the astral, for those of us that astral project or lucid dream or do grid work, we navigate in the astral without a physical body. We're in what we call our light body or astral body, which is the blueprint for our soul and our human body. It's that in between. It's not the physical, but it's also not the eternal soul. It's the in-between blueprint that contains your light codes and light body. So you're less dense in your vibration. Therefore, you're able to vibrate higher and therefore experience a higher dimension. So when we're traveling in the astral, through astral projection, lucid dreaming, we'll notice, things aren't like solid walls. Things are not concrete. We're able to flow what you call lucidly, or just cello-like, and just move through walls and go through floors and all these other things.
Or just be in a different place altogether all at once.
Yeah,
You're one
exactly.
and you're, three doors down at the whatever shop, the music shop in another dimension. You're just moving at the speed of light, really, to where you want to go.
Yeah, it's at our own free will, and it's all taking place parallel.
Right.
It's all simultaneous. It's all synchronized.
Right.
And we're just hopping in and out of different dimensional bodies and experiencing through it.
Yeah.
And, you know, this world, it's had a history of really, telling people and teaching people that use their mind freely to travel into these different places and to dream free and explore these different realms naturally because they're beautiful star seeds. They've told them that you're out of your mind,
Right.
you're crazy. You need to be more present. You need to pay more attention. You're trying to get out of everything.
Yeah.
You're not paying attention.
Right.
And for a lot of us, it's a gift and it's a beautiful ability
Yeah.
to be able to mentally be free. And when we go into these different dimensions, some of us, we're trying to bring in some beautiful energy and light codes
Right.
back into this physical reality, not just for ourselves, but for others.
Right.
And some of us are also helping bring in healing energetic codes.
Yeah. I mean,
And there's a lot.
it's a lot. It's a lot. So basically, now we're not saying, for me, I know that my body, mind, and soul is triune. When I was little, I always learned that the triune part through religion was Father, Son, and Holy Ghost. And that was about as vibrationally magic as you were going to get. But your soul is come here into this density, right? Into this third density is part of your third density being, because it's making a movement up the densities to merge back with source, right? It is source being moving through, in, and as you to seek physicality. It knows, to anyone who says, well, why would I want to come here and do this just so that I could dream? That's a plus when you get to being able to do that. That's like going to kindergarten, right? And drawing your best picture without your teacher balling up the paper and throwing it away. Why? Because for most of our lives as human beings, we have been told, do not color outside the lines. But there's always one teacher that'll let you color outside the lines and put your picture up on the board saying, that's great art, right? So is this duality, don't get it wrong. Duality is real. Densities, all the densities that our soul is moving up, regardless of whether it has our body or it utilizes our mind in the fourth density more than it utilizes our body in the third density. Our soul is still, it still chose us to make a choice. It's making one of two choices. It's making a positive polarity choice, which means that it's serving others to serve yourself. That means all your needs will always be met. Everything you do will be of service to others. And because you're serving others, it's for your greatest good. And you can move, you can literally tell a mountain to move through the power that you have within you. That's your soul, that's your body, that's your mind, working as one triune physicality of energy, right? Third density. Most of humanity know it because we've been told that we only use less than, I believe it's like less than a fourth of our brain power. They told us that from the day we're born. So what are we going to do? We're not going to use our brain power. We don't even know we have it, right? We're going to work. We're going to be born. We're going to work. Then we're going to retire and lose our mind. And then we're going to die. While then, when we die, God gets to judge us. And, you know, don't write me any hate mail. It's just the way I believe it. God's going to judge us. And then you either get, God is either going to tell you, you go to heaven or you go to hell. That's the way I was raised. But there's more to that story because your soul came here with purpose. Third density was all of Mother Earth being created from the ground up: fire, water, air, earth. Second density was every being and plant that was created. That was God seeking self as plant life and animal. And then here we are as third density, God or source or awareness or the law of one that is all of everything is seeking what it is to be you and me in duality. So that's where our free will comes in, right? But here's the kicker. We get this free will, but now with the free will, you know that your soul is making a choice too. My question with me, when I found that out, it was like, how can I help you? That's me in my meditation to my soul. How can I help you? What choices do I have to make? And my soul said, just keep making the choices, because through your choices, whether you feel they're good or bad, I'm seeking what the polarity is that I need to know about. So if you have a bad day, your soul is feeling what it is to seek the polarity of you wanting something more for yourself. And you're only, sometimes you're just only thinking about yourself. And folks say, that's kind of selfish. But if you don't have that moment, then your soul isn't going to have that moment. And that's the purpose for third density. That's why third density is so fucking hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's most of our third density that we're doing is because our soul is being veiled, and our mind has, in third density, our mind just became aware of itself, that it's aware. So in order to be aware of itself, it created your ego. Make no mistake, God did not create ego. Your mind did, to make sense of taking care of us or you or whoever, because all it said was, how do I protect this body until this soul is unveiled or comes or starts helping me out, right? So ego took over. Your ego likes being a creator. It likes third density. It likes duality. And it likes being your personality. Fight, flight, resist, or do nothing at all. Right? So it's like, whoa, for me, when all of that kind of made sense in the little wheel, then it was like, shit, I can color outside the lines now, because why? I don't have to live linearly. I can just go, oh, what is that? That little cycle that you spin, and where it stops, you don't know. It just stops, and you just go, I won $1 million, right? That's how we get to, that's, you know, that's the presentation that Ra presented to us. It's that our soul is making this density, and all of it makes sense. And it doesn't how many times our soul reincarnates in a human form, or whether it goes and reincarnates into another galaxy. It takes the essence of who you were with it. That's why a lot of people have a deja vu, because the soul is projecting a recalling of itself to someone else that wasn't the present Marcus, or wasn't the present me, or wasn't the present, you know, Relatia, or wasn't the present, you know, DJ Music, or, you know, wasn't. And this is why we have a lot of deja vu is because you're remembering what it's like to be in the family of Ra. You're remembering, your soul is recalling, and then when you finally get to that point where Ra says, okay, now I'm going to take you to more of where you came from. Hold on to your seat. That's a
Strap in your seatbelt.
strap in your seatbelt, because where my soul took me, and it was, I kind of asked, I gave permission. It was it was a planet that had the biggest sun you ever could see, and it was not a yellow sun that we have here. That's how I knew I was someplace else. And two moons, and everything was what my mind would consider to be the wrong color. That Earth, ooh, I like that one. um, do you know what it means? Yep, that one.
This one.
That was that. Yeah, that one's pretty cool.
This one, you say?
Uh-huh. That one I say.
I'm not sure where they took me for this experience, but
Yeah.
it's been a rough.
Yeah.
It's been a really rough one.
Pretty cool. It looks great when you smile, though. It's a great thing. But do you know what I mean? So when Ra was presenting all of this, who knew, right? And the thing is, I barely got through book one, right? But the fact that in this book, Ra lists three entities or three beings and human beings that chose a negative polarity path, right?
Mm-hmm.
And everybody would have thought that it was Hitler, and it wasn't. Hitler merged back with Source. The soul that was Hitler merged back with Source. Everybody thought it was, and I was like blown away that it was. I think it was. Hold on a second. I think I got the. It was three. It was three people that he named: Taurus, Bulba, Rasputin, and Genghis Khan. That they chose the negative path. But by the time they got to sixth density, they had to change the polarity path to a positive path in order to merge back with God or Source.
Yeah, and that's where the Halls of Amenti comes in. I'm not sure if he mentions the Halls of Amenti in that book.
Yeah, I mean, I'm there, but I just was, it was just when I got to those names, like I was going, well, I expected, Hitler to be there, because we thought, oh, all the atrocities and blah, blah, blah. And Ra said, nope. He was just an individual, thought he was doing the right thing, for the greater good of quote unquote his kind. But, I believe it was that karma took care of that for him, for Hitler. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And Hitler did merge back, but these three, they chose, the souls of them chose a negative path, which you kind of go, well, shouldn't all souls want the positive souls want to merge back with the Source? But not necessarily. But they don't choose. Most negative souls that choose a negative path think about, I think Ra was saying that they think really about going back to third density, because positive souls that return back to third density know them. They know who they are. They can see them. And so they don't take that chance. Maybe one or two do, and that's where we think of we call them evil spirits or whatnot, and they're just souls that chose the negative, polarity path, which is self first at all costs.
Yep.
So
that is right.
I was blown away. It was like, oh, So the ones that do, and what they do is it may only be one or two that make it back through, but what they do is they try to convince other souls that are already here to kind of, be part of their party, you know. But the thing is that the soul and the body that the soul it houses have to be in agreement to do the negative polarity path, So I was like,
Yeah,
wow.
that is that's phenomenal. Thank you for sharing
Yeah,
all that and articulating that for us, because that's really, really key knowledge beyond, physical reality and our eternal soul game that we're in, if you want to call it that.
yeah,
And this just really leads me into talking about the halls of a mentee.
please.
And for those that know the halls of a mentee, the halls of the mentee is like the middle dimension of the whole pyramid, so to say, or the whole spectrum.
is,
And
is that considered
the hall,
also record?
yes, the halls of records,
Okay,
yes.
yeah, okay.
And within the halls of Menti, this is where the weighing of the heart scene has been depicted all over the pyramids and other places, where they have the scale, Anubis, Mot, Isis, Osiris, Thoth, Horus, and all of them at the scale. And this hall is designed, well, specifically at the weighing of the heart. The weighing of the heart is weighing your physical heart, which holds your karmic energy, and, and you're weighing it against the feather of Maat, M-A-A-T. For those who don't know who Goddess Maat is the goddess of justice, order, and balance. So she holds the principles and the laws of the universe within her vibrational being that maintain order and balance throughout creation. And there's actually what we call the 42 laws of Ma'at that you can find all over online. If you just type in the 42 laws of Ma'at, you
Okay.
can read them, start integrating them into your daily life practices, and start to embody those to help clear out any of that karmic energy within your heart. And when you get your heart weighed against that feather, you're getting your karmic energy of your physical experience weighed against that feather. And if your heart ends up being as light as the feather of Ma'at, then that shows divinely that you are at a light enough density or vibration after leaving this physical incarnation to be able to move upwards in a higher vibrational reality and return closer back to pure source.
Okay.
And if if your heart isn't at the lightness of the feather due to experiences and other things that have been held on to that have bound you to karmic energy, then you get multiple options and choices at your own soul's free will of how to experience another incarnation or ways to face experiences to be able to clear out that past karma. So then you can try once again to bring it back to that hall and be as light as the feather after the next incarnation. And yeah, so that's
So,
why a lot of these that's why lot of these a lot of these ancient systems and things called like what is it called? Tao and Taoism. They talk about how, while we're kind of like not born and then not in the death and leaving stage, we're in this in between where we're trying to keep our karmic energy, or we're trying to keep our density as light as possible through this journey, so that when it comes time for us to then decease from this physical body, our body can be as soft as possible for the soul to be able to, as light as possible, leave. And a lot of these ancient practices and a lot of these ancient civilizations, including ancient Kemet, ancient Egypt, they talk about the importance of preparing the mummy, the sarcophagus, and the proper and ritualistic ceremonial ways to make sure that the spirit is properly navigating out of that physical incarnation, so it doesn't have to bind itself mentally to all these earthly and worldly things that keep it weighed down from moving forward completely. And that's why a lot of these ancient systems and practices and civilizations talk about these things, because of the importance of the afterlife, as they call it. And when you get to that waiting room, so to say, as Energy said, or that hall of Amenti, to get that weighing done of your experiences from this lifetime, to see if your heart is as light as that feather, to vibrate into a higher and beautiful heavenly density, then we prepared for that properly. And we don't have to come back and be binded to the karmic cycle.
Yes. I like that. I really like that.
I like that. I like that. I like that.
I was releasing,
Oh, man.
so much as you were talking. It was just releasing from me. Oh, okay. That hadn't happened. And it's like, wait, I'm drinking my water and whatnot. And it's like, okay, see, it's releasing. But yeah, I'm learning through my spiritual path that there's so much that has been left out. When for you didn't have to go through the cycles of, and when I say cycles, it's just cycles of religious information that's taught to us, and the part of the religion that they left stuff out on purpose, because they did not want people to know that they are body, mind, and soul, and they do have the power to move heaven and earth, whether they be single-minded or whether it be in a collective mind. And for me, this spiritual path had to come to this point. All the books that I've been reading, from Michael Beckwith's book Liberation to Eckhart Tolle's Now, to the raw materials, to the conversations with God that open up the infinite possibility that we are part of the law of one. We're part of the Creator. Just because we have a human body doesn't mean that we're separate from it. It just means that we're part of the law of one. We're part of, which is magnificent, because Ross says it's love, light, and light, love. And that the law of one is love. And
it's like being a divider in a book, or a divider in a folder. You're not separate, but you're like a little divider of what's still whole.
Right.
And you have your own little space to be authentic.
Right.
But you're still part of the whole.
Yes.
And it's a balance. It's a balancing act
That,
of.
that's such a perfect. Oh, that's so perfect. If you don't mind, I would like to use that to explain to other people as they come into my energy field, because
Please.
I've been explaining it to them about water hitting the sand. That water does, even though it gets immersed in sand, water returns back to water. It's still always whole. But the analogy of it kind of like, okay, we'll have to sit on that one, but I love it. It's being a divider in that greater notebook and still being unique to the wholeness. Yes, I love it.
Yeah, it's like holding your own place, holding your perfect place within all of it to make sure that, everything is exactly how it needs to be so that you can experience exactly what you need to experience or what you would like to experience in that moment.
Right.
That's why we use bookmarks, right? We use dividers is to make sure we can keep track of a certain space and time or a certain thing
Right.
that we would like to experience or recap or refresh ourselves on.
Right.
And it's really no
Right.
different.
Right. Right. And would you do me a favor? Would you spell Maut for me? Is it Mautt?
Ma is M-A-hyphen-A-T. Well, not hyphen, apostrophe.
Okay. Oh,
M-A-apostrophe-A-T.
okay.
I'll put it here on the bottom.
Okay. Got it.
Ma. But yeah, she's the goddess, like the original mother figure of balance, order, and justice.
Yeah.
And you could look up the laws of Ma'at, and there's 42 of them, which is actually where the Ten Commandments of Moses came from.
Mm-hmm.
They are 10 commandments that were from the 42 laws of Ma'at,
Okay.
because it basically all comes from Egyptian knowledge. All the biblical stuff, it's all, I'm not going to say mimicked, it's just, it's, what would be a better word to use?
It
It's,
would a better
it's,
be integrated.
yeah, it's, it's really like the core, it's the core foundation and roots of earth knowledge and universal knowledge.
Right.
So, all these different civilizations, religions, and civilizations, even like ancient India, um, you know, Buddhists, all,
Right.
all these different ones, they all got it from what would be the root, which is the Kemetic knowledge.
Okay.
And, it's been a journey. Some have used it for their own self-empowerment. Some have used it to empower others, and so on and so forth.
Right.
But when you look at the biblical stories, a lot of the biblical stories are the same stories that go back to the ancient Egyptian book, and the ancient Egyptian stories that are on the walls in the pyramids, like Adam and Eve, that goes back to ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics on walls that were painted,
Right.
and it's twisted a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Same with the covenant of the ark. Same with Noah. All these things depicted in the pyramids,
Mm-hmm.
and there's an originality to it. And then there's what's been what you can call whitewash for some, and
Mm-hmm.
with that has came manipulation
Mm-hmm.
and
Right.
perversion,
Right.
which I'm not going too in depth with how that works, but it creates inverted matrix systems that gets programmed into us. And those inverted matrix systems then keep us from being in our organic, whole balanced state. So then we're unintentionally subconsciously experiencing perverted versions of the wholeness and truth of life because we're unconsciously making the choice
Right.
because of what we're being programmed and conditioned into.
Right. And that's why we are, well, I know that's why I know how difficult it is to move out of religion and try to move into a more spiritual path. And all spiritual path means is that you want to become one with the Creator. That's all it means. You know, most people will draw the picture of it being wishy-washy, mamby-pamby, you know, that kind of thing, and you know, that kind of thing. But it's just being one with God, finding out all the questions that you've ever asked about why me, or the question, the big number one question, why is life, you know, shitting with me, you know, that kind of thing. And what's the whole meaning of this, you know? And as you move away from the stories that have been ingrained in us, and I like that word, perverted, to the point where it doesn't make sense and it makes you ask those questions in that way. Me, I didn't ask why me, because that always made me feel like I was um, uh, uh, a prisoner. But for me, I would ask, how come? Or what next?
Yeah.
Or what am I missing? You know, those kind of things. Or, you know, when I would read the Bible, I would go, well, there looks like there should have been something else there, but what's there isn't there. So I have to go searching for it. And with open up, and I go, now I understand why it's so important for us to know about the law of one, because the law of one is just love. You know, it's just it's the consciousness of God, if you want to say consciousness, or if you want to say God, or if you, me, I don't choose to say God, because man has gave a new definition to the word God. That means God is like man. And it took, do you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
time that,
Because here, I know exactly what you're saying. Maybe this will be like how you're trying to kind of put it to words is that, you know, there's been so much history with this word God, and there's a lot of trauma that has been instilled within
yeah,
people's subconscious regarding this word God,
right,
or not just trauma, but, you know, the misleadings of, you know, a separate figure outside of you that's a man in the sky that
right,
has all the power, and then you're just a small human being basically worth nothing.
right, right,
And what that can do is that can trigger things. It can trigger traumas. It can trigger trauma bonding. It can trigger those misleadings into people's perspectives and perceptions of what we're trying to explain
right.
from the wholeness perspective of, you know, source of the all.
Sort,
So that's actually really
right,
something I've been big on too, is I don't exactly try to keen on using the word God too
yeah,
much because of those reasons.
right,
And when I'm trying to deliver a message, I try to make it as clear as possible without
right,
having people get triggered and tied to what they've been instilled in to their subconscious as God, quote unquote.
right.
So yeah, I use things like source, the all,
The,
creator.
the creator. And upon occasion, I'll use, instead of just plain out God, I'll go mother, father, God. Yes, you know, feminine, divine God. So that they know that I'm not coming from, you know, the biblical God, that man or woman can change the biblical sense of God to meet their need. Basically, you know,
Yeah.
back when the back when we talked a lot about God, that God was talked about a lot. It was like God was a, if you wanted other people to fear you, then you said God is a fearing God. If you wanted to, if you wanted to go and make war with another tribe, then God is a warring God. You know, and that whole kind of thing. Instead of God being the source of all, the source of one love. You know, and we're all in this book as bookmarks, being unique to the whole, you know. So I want to, before I go, I want to read something that I saw that Aaron Apke had wrote on my not on my Instagram page, but the feed went through, and I'm not sure if it's part of one of the books of the Law of One, but I really felt this intrinsic vibration that I needed to share. May I read it?
Oh, absolutely. Please. This is our space together.
Okay. All praise to you, most sacred one. Your mind is the only mind. Your life is the only life. You created me as holy as you are, gave me all things, made me self-shining, my being self-evident. Nothing can prove my existence. My existence proves me because you are. I am because you are. All is because you are. My being is forever. And that ends what he wrote, what he quoted. It's the law of one. We're all we're all source. We're all one. We're all awareness, and we all are aware. And it doesn't matter whether you're listening intuitively to Ra, or Hatan, or Christ consciousness, or Buddha consciousness. It's all coming from the one that is all, you know. So I hope to keep this conversation going about the raw materials, because there's so much in it. I mean, I said, I haven't even got, like, maybe I'm like almost halfway through book one, and there are I think, let me go here and open it up. I believe it says that there are 5 books, and it's on, if anybody wants to go on their website. It's called the Law of One. I think it's called lawofone.info, and it gives you, you know, a breakdown. I still haven't figured out how I can listen to the actual physical audio. I want to listen to the audio of her channeling him, because you can do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's, you know, 5 books, you know.
Take your time with those. Take your time.
You do have to take your time with it, because he's very Ra, that entity is very specific in not usurping our free will. So
Mm-hmm.
is about not changing what we're going through. It's about us knowing that we can adapt his information when we want to.
Yeah.
So I went, oh my God, this is going to
Sandra,
be.
how much time do you have?
How much time do I have?
Mm-hmm.
I have right now, I have to get ready for a live. I'm going to be doing my reading at 1:30. So I've got up until that. What do you need? Are you running out of time?
No. Oh,
Going?
I was going to ask if you would like to stay with us for a meditation.
Yes. I was hoping I would be invited. I would love to stay with you for a meditation.
Yes. It's been a while since I've done a live meditation with all of you guys. So my beautiful brothers and sisters, definitely stay in the room if you would like to connect on a beautiful guided meditation with Sandra and I. And Sandra, if you feel any moments within the meditation where there's kind of like still spots where I'm not guiding in between, feel free to unleash that wonderful light language, and then I will continue back into the guidance right afterwards. And yeah, it's going to be a beautiful one. And Shauna-Lee, I know you're in the space. If you'd like to hop on as well, if that's okay with Sandra.
Oh, beautiful. Welcome,
All right.
Shauna. Welcome.
Shauna, go ahead and send a request if you would like to join in and share your gift as well. We're going to channel a little bit of raw energy, and we're going to restore our minds to stillness and just acknowledging the wholeness and balance of all that we are. So let's take a moment to kind of take a little break, so to say, a little intervention. Go grab some water, burn some sage, grab your crystals, whatever you'd like to do. Take like 5 minutes. I'm gonna go do the same, and I will be back out here, and we will do this out in the jungle.
Out in the jungle.
Out in the jungle.
Earth is talking to us.
Oh, you hear that? The birds talking.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
If you guys hear like a howling in the distance, those are howler monkeys, by the way.
Oh, those aren't like wolves or anything. Those are actual monkeys.
Those are
Wow.
howler monkeys.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Here we go. All right. So while we're waiting for Marcus, I'm going to tell you that there are 7 densities, right? The first density is it's called focus orientation. It's called self, and the form is pure being and existence. That was the existence of all of the earth as it was being created. And that was source in, through, and as the earth as source created it. And then source experienced the second density, which is called the other focus. It's environmental, it's growth movement. Everything that you're looking at from nature and everything, every place that you walk, all the air that you breathe, that was God experiencing itself as second density. And then third density is self, and it's the being self-aware, the mind coming into awareness of itself, and that's when ego was created. The fourth density is also called the other. It's the other selves. It's the self-love source being moving through, in, and as love. Fifth density, it's self again. It's mind and spirit and wisdom, right? Sixth density, the other again. It's the universe. It's unity. And then to merge back to seventh density is the creator. It's the absorption of everything that is, right? Beautiful. It's a beautiful orchestration of creativity, right? All right.
And
Kabbalion.
as I'm saying right here, you know, these little dividers, like,
Yeah.
see these? Each one of these is us, and we hold a special place and a special authentic look, and we're still part of that whole. You know, we keep everything in order, and that's the law of one.
That's the law of one. Yes. That's the law of one.
Alrighty.
Right.
So, kings and queens, look at this aura right now from the sun. We got rainbow and crystal white light energy. Wow. It's been a while. It has been a while. Wow.
Wow. Yeah.
It's really strange to say it's been a while for me doing meditations with all of you guys. But this is gonna be a beautiful, beautiful one. And Shauna-Lee is gonna be joining us right now. Shauna-Lee.
Hello.
Hello.
Sister.
How are you?
I am wonderful. You see it, that's for sure.
Wow, you're in Costa Rica now.
Yeah, I've been in Costa Rica for a month.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Oh, wow. I wish I could be there, man.
It's not too far out of reach. I mean, plane ticket's only a couple $100, like 300 to come to Costa Rica, so it's not anything too crazy.
Oh,
So
really?
keep it in your
Wow.
mind and just give it a
Yeah.
try.
Hi, Boo. There's Danny.
Hey,
How are you?
oh, everybody's joining now.
Yeah.
Welcome in, everybody. We just wrapped up a conversation about the law of one raw material between Sandra and I, and Shauna-Lee is joining us as we are about to begin a guided raw law of one wholeness awareness meditation. So to keep things nice and organized, since we both do light language, I'll let you two wonderful queens decide on how you'd like to do this. But we could do one wonderful queen doing light language in the beginning, and then I'll start the guidance. And then the other may do light language in between the still and silent moments of my guidance.
I only have a few minutes, so I'd like to go first, if that's okay, Sandra, and then you can take over from there.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then that way, if I need to leave, it won't be an issue.
Okay.
Okay.
Beautiful. So yeah, I just want to state some intentions, and I just want to start off with saying that I'm really grateful for this space, and I'm really grateful to be here live with all of you again, and kind of rewinding back the clock a little bit with these beautiful collaborations and all of our wonderful brothers and sisters being here. And there is a new level of what is coming back for Christolight and Sacred Light on these lives. So be ready to collaborate again and raise that frequency together as a community. And there's a new level, new awareness, and a lot of lessons learned from this past year. But in this space, we are divinely protected, divinely guided, and I ask for Ra and any law of one carriers to flow, purify clarity, and any healing that is necessary for any of us within our mind, body, astral and physical and emotional bodies of our aura, to restore back to awareness of our whole truth of who we are. Ashe. Shauna-Lee, whenever you are ready, sister.
Okay. Just breathe into your heart space and be open to receive. Here we go. Saudi darahaba asuwa anu uri hi ayadis bu iti Miriama maidi he ulado uti imi saiti narahata wala isa narauwa yade iti nahama adu urua wanihi asaiti baadu uwa haraadu ama iti iya.
Breathing and breathing in through the nose, intimately drawing and connecting with the breath of spirit. Drawing the breath down the body, patiently and with self-love, allowing yourself to be aware of its healing throughout every facet of your body, serving its law of one divine purpose for you in this human experience. Patiently and intimately guiding the breath up the body and exhaling out of the mouth as a beautiful whole process without rush. Continuing this pattern, breathing the sacred breath in through the nose, down the body, and out of the mouth. With every breath, becoming lighter, beginning to dissolve away the barriers within our minds of the physical world and our light body world. Breathing out and dissolving the limitations that have been placed. And in this space, you free to let go of expectations and obligations from the outside world that have been placed upon you from yourself or others. And as you breathe, visualizing the presence, beginning to leave from the sun. And this presence is the leader of the gold order, who represents our earthly sun. The gold ray leader of the Ra Confederacy, divine being Ra, opening up his love, his divine purpose in the law of one, to share with you the awareness of the truth of who you are in this present moment of eternity and wholeness. It is up to you within your own mind to consciously choose and state and command in your space that I am open to receiving this healing. I am open to receiving the knowledge that I need to become aware of, to remember my wholeness of who I am.
Shinoto oka ima gana hia hamba tunda hia hole mea ukaya shine toshana toko akaya se no tokai mea tu shine neoko ana hia te she no toku na hia una hia shu like te eno tok she nai ti o taima ai she na aka oto she na ta mo kuchi she no tai ti ku one anai su no tu chi se ne o tu te shi ken tau shi na te sha la me tu shi nai tu ta ai ne he shen na ona imbakai ne o tai ne o toku na hi na te ulai ma hia le hukai she paya tai po shi na tu ti she na una ane chia he ne shi ne he ma hai ne o tu tai tie o la ma kai she na moto mea tu shi 没有东西，下那地，安那也写图下那一，写图下那一，啊写，没有背后，其实。
Continuing to breathe, breathing into the nose. But now as we breathe, breathing in beautiful golden energy from the wonderful being Ra, selflessly giving this golden ray of light to help restore the Christ consciousness within our being. Breathing in this golden ray down to the root chakra at the base of the spine, crystallizing and placing a gold layer on our red root chakra. And from the red root chakra, the golden light, through the breath, assisting, travels up to the sacral. And this golden Christ light amplifies and seals the orange sacral chakra at the bladder. And as we continue to breathe, assisting this process, the golden light travels up to the abdomen at the yellow solar plexus chakra, amplifying and sealing the yellow chakra with gold. Continue to rise with the breath. This golden ray rises to the heart center, in the center of the chest, amplifying and sealing this green energy center with gold. And as we breathe, it rises through the higher heart chakra at the top of the chest, amplifying and sealing this aqua turquoise chakra, the higher heart, with gold. Continues to rise with the breath to the throat chakra, amplifying and sealing this blue energy center with the gold ray. Continuing up the face and making its way with the breath. The gold ray meets the third eye in between the brows, amplifying and sealing this indigo energy center with gold. And finally, at the top of the head, this golden ray from Ra interacts at the crown chakra, amplifying and sealing this violet purple energy center with gold. And as this golden ray rises up out of the crown as a perfect aligned streak of balanced golden Christ light from the roots to the crown chakra, It rises up above the head and interacts with the soul star chakra above the head. And as it interacts with the soul star chakra, this gold Christ light from Ra cleanses and clears way for remembrance of your highest soul purpose and soul mission and reasoning and clarity of why you are here and why you chose to be here. Continuing to breathe, breathing in this golden light of Christ energy, and breathing out this golden Christ light back to the universe.
Eno toshi ne eko na hote te ochina a. Ono toshi ne maha. Te no toko nai. Shina to o tai ne e moho. Ana shi ne o le maha. Meshi no koshina a. Shono to o na ie. Mahane imba keshono to o na ie. Chishina to o tai. Te o to na ie. Mano chishina e tushina a le bako ai. Shina to chi. Te shina o ko ai te. Chi taka iwa to ai. Shina te e. Moto shina. Ashe no koshi. E mo koshi ne. Hamachi. Toshina toshi imakai. She no tota. Anata eke e. Shinata. Tuno tota. Imachi. Shi. Keshi.
Navigating with the breath consciously, patiently at your own rate, drawing your mental consciousness back to your physical avatar, patiently and responsibly, winding back and landing your consciousness into your physical reality without any rush, moving your body parts, and opening your eyes when you are ready to return back to your physical reality.
Shin i to. Shenatai i kai auto. Eshi shenai. Ambakai, Buchishi Nai, Neotochi, Imoto Anai Ika, Chitoko, Kate E.
Ooh. Wow.
That's the first time that I've Gishono Tokushine E Pochotiti out loud.
Ah. Wow.
Shino Tokuchi Toku Ai. Ra is pleased. Beacho. Te Tokon.
Okay. Look how much brighter he got.
Yes. Kishino Toku.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how we do things in the space of Christolight. And it feels good to be back at doing these things to serve the law of one. And ladies and gentlemen, kings and queens, buckle up, because there's more space to be held. And
all the space in between. Ishino Toku Am. Besha
yeah.
Toku. All the space in between. I'd like to thank you for inviting me as your guest. Thank you so much.
Shoot, thank you. This was an equal collaboration to me.
And I hope many more. There are 5 books. And I'd like to thank everyone in the room. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for receiving this information.
And before you go, Sandra, if you may, how can everybody get a hold of you, and what type of things do you offer for the collective through the law of one?
Through the law of one, anyone who is moving from religious dogmas and stories and everything that's holding them, that they believe that's holding them back from a relationship with the law of one as wholeness. They believe that they're separate. I work with you to help you recognize those stories. Only you can change those stories, or only you can go into your subconscious and bring those stories forward and allow them to be transmuted. Transmuted means that source is going to change that energy, but you have to decide what story you are going to write instead of that old dogma. I am here to listen. I am here to be patient with you as you bring those stories forward. So you can contact me. You can DM me through Instagram. You can go to my social tab in my bio, and you can contact me on YouTube. You can contact me on my podcast. I have Spotify and iTunes now. I have a website, Soulawakeningwithsandra.com. You can contact me and reach me through my email that's on there. And we can go from there. Your stories are not judged. They should not be judged by me or by you. All you're doing is relocating yourself in your awareness of your past and observing it and calling forth those stories that no longer are for your greater good. And it doesn't have to be just stories of religious dogmas. It could be your professional, it could be your private, it could be relationships with individuals, and how you got to the point where you judge the relationship as a bad, as something bad, or no longer for your greater good. You have to change the story, and I'm willing to listen. Your wholeness. You are the law of one. You are source, having a human incarnation, and you are the breath of God in this incarnation. And my dogs have now said, this is where we sign off.
That's so funny. Perfect timing as always.
Perfect timing. They love the language, the light language, and so they were like almost asleep. So
Wow.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sandra. Thank you for sharing your time and authentic space with us. And it's been an honor as always. And I look forward to our next collaboration on live and whatever else comes in our journey together. Thank you so much.
Yes. Let's journey on. All right. Thank you, everyone, for allowing me to share me with you. Be blessed. Be happy. And have a great holiday, no matter how you celebrate it.
Ashe.
Ashe. Thank you so much. I'm going to sign off now.
All right. Stay blessed.
You stay blessed too.
Much.
Peace.
And for all of you kings and queens out there that tapped in and will be tapping in, thank you all. I'm actually extremely grateful for all of you and each and every one of you for being present, sharing your time, your authentic space to receive as well as share and express your energy. And if you would like to hop on a live with myself, talk about some sacred knowledge or wisdom, or share your story with the collective, feel free to direct message myself and we can get that set up and we'll have a beautiful sacred space to express and share. And be on the lookout. I got a retreat coming up in South Carolina, a holistic healing retreat the end of March. And it's going to be a 5-night retreat. And it'll be plant-based meals and a bunch of other things. You can actually have access to the website through the link in my bio. And then clicking on the link and then going to Sacred Freedom Retreats. You can look at the website with all details on there for you. If you have any questions, just message me. Early bird pricing is taking place right now until Christmas, the 25th. And then after that, the prices will be going up just a little bit. And it's a very affordable price, especially for 5 nights. It's only around $600 to $800 altogether, depending upon what you do. And when you think about that, that's almost cheaper than an Airbnb. And you're getting courses, workshops, yoga, meditation, and we're going to be doing gem mining, where you get to hands-on gem mine your own crystals. And there's some other things as well. You'll also be getting breakfast, lunch, and dinner, as well as desserts and snacks, all plant-based. And not only will I be there facilitating and hosting, but also my mother will be co-hosting, and also Kemet Yoga, our good brother Kemet Yoga here on Instagram, will be doing ancient Egyptian yoga as well. So if you have any questions, just message me and we can get you going on the application. Spots are limited, so if you are drawn and interested, definitely hop on that, especially while the early bird price is going. Workshops. Tomorrow I will be going live to announce new workshops that I will be hosting every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday and each will only be $44, or you can pay for all 3 workshops in a week for $111. And these workshops are encompass crystal healing, chakra learning, and chakra healing, as well as the 4 pillars to freedom, trauma healing. So all 3 of these workshops will be taking place every week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Love to see any of you guys there. Help support, show some love, show yourself love, and don't be afraid to embark in these new chapters and find new ways to heal yourself and bring wholeness to your awareness. Thank you all. And I love you. Love you too, Brother Logan, Energy, Wayne, all of you. Thank you all for your support throughout this time. And I've had a wonderful, wonderful reset and evolution here in Costa Rica. And I'll actually be coming back to the States on December 29th. So I'll be back at the end of this month. I'll be back in the States. And if you want to host an event and have me come around your local area or enjoy some wonderful sacred space together, I'm going to be open to traveling a lot. So connect with me and let's get some beautiful travels going on around the country. And I'll bring my gifts. You can open up your gifts and let's raise the frequencies, restore our brothers and sisters back to wholeness awareness. It's our time and it's nobody else's, so let's do this. Love you all. I'll be live tomorrow to talk about the courses and workshops. And then, I'm not sure when I'll be live again, but I'll be live soon. Love you all. Just message me if you need to.